Shakira just went on record calling out 3 world leaders by name, and she's backing it up with $500,000. Here's the deal. Venezuela was hit by 2 earthquakes last week, magnitude 7.2 and 7.5, and the numbers coming out of the country right now are staggering. Nearly 3,000 people dead, over 16,000 injured, more than 16,000 people have lost their homes. 80 temporary camps have been set up, hundreds of buildings are damaged or completely collapsed, and there are tens of thousands of rescue workers and volunteers on the ground. This is an active, ongoing disaster, and into that moment, Shakira stepped forward, not just with a statement, but with a specific ask and a specific amount. In a video posted to her Instagram, Shakira announced that the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund, a fund she collaborates with, will be directing $500,000 to organizations in Venezuela that are working to help children whose education was interrupted by the earthquakes. Her words in English: "Today, millions of children are growing up without access to the education and opportunities they deserve. That's why I'm proud to support the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund." And then she went further. "I'm also proud to share that the fund will direct $500,000 to organizations in Venezuela assisting minors whose education was disrupted by this terrible tragedy." She also put out an open invitation to local organizations already leading relief work on the ground to apply for that funding. So this isn't just a check being cut at a distance. It's structured to reach the people doing the actual work. Now here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Shakira didn't just announce the donation and leave it there. She used the platform to apply real public pressure on 4 heads of government. She named Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney, who she credited with already stepping forward in the campaign. And then she turned directly to Portugal's Prime Minister Luís Montenegro, France's President Emmanuel Macron, and Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz, asking them, by name, to commit to unlocking the necessary resources to support children's education during Venezuela's recovery. That's not a vague call to action. That's a Colombian pop star putting specific politicians on notice in front of her global audience during an active humanitarian crisis. Whether you read that as diplomacy, as celebrity activism, or as calculated pressure, the mechanism is the same. Now those leaders have been publicly asked, and the world is watching whether they respond. And the scale of the crisis makes the pressure harder to ignore. According to Venezuelan authorities, by the time Shakira posted that video, over 9,400 tons of food and nearly 500,000 liters of water had already been distributed. More than 6,000 people had been rescued. 29,000 police officers were deployed across the territory. The humanitarian infrastructure is moving, but the education piece, the longer-term recovery for children who've had their schooling ripped away, that's the part that tends to fall through the cracks when cameras move on. That's exactly the gap Shakira is pointing at. Here's my read on this. There's something deliberate about the way this was framed. Shakira didn't center herself in this story. She centered the fund, the organizations, the children, and the specific political figures who have the power to do more. She ends the video with, "If you believe every child deserves the chance to dream, join this effort." And that's an invitation to her followers to donate directly to the campaign. So you've got personal credibility, institutional backing through FIFA, a concrete dollar figure named political accountability, and a grassroots donation appeal all in one move. Whether this is a calculated communication strategy or just the work of someone who genuinely knows how to use influence effectively, the outcome is the same. The ask is out there, it's specific, and it's now attached to some very prominent names. The tension Shakira set up in that video is a real one. Disasters generate an immediate flood of aid and attention, and then the cameras go somewhere else. The children left behind, without schools, without teachers, without a path back to normal, are the ones who tend to get forgotten when the news cycle moves on. By anchoring her ask specifically to education and specifically to named world leaders, she's created a record. Either those leaders respond or they don't. And either way, that video is out there. The hook was delivered. The $500,000 is real. What happens next is on the politicians she called out. So, do you think public pressure from celebrities actually moves governments? Or is this more about keeping the story alive in the news cycle? Drop your take in the comments and subscribe if you want to follow how this one develops.